Picture this. You're sitting on your couch, right? Staring at the black screen of your phone.
Oh, we have all been there.
Yeah. You sent a text to someone you're dating, someone you were genuinely like starting to fall for.
Right.
And it's been an hour. No reply.
Right.
You tell yourself, well, they're just busy at work. But then, 3 hours pass, still nothing. The screen lights up, your stomach just drops, but it's just like a promotional email or something.
Always the promotional email.
Exactly. And you can physically feel the shift happening in your body, can't you? Like your heart rate accelerates, your chest gets a little tight. I mean, your peripheral vision actually narrows.
Yeah, your nervous system's just revving up.
Totally. And your mind starts spinning entirely out of control, just manufacturing absolute worst case scenarios. You're thinking, did I say something wrong? Was I too forward? Are they out with someone else right now?
Right, the spiral.
You try to put the phone down, turn on the TV, play it cool, but you are completely obsessively consumed by the silence.
And see, that specific moment is where the heavy self-judgment usually just crashes down on you.
Oh, absolutely.
Sit there thinking, I'm being completely irrational. I'm being clingy. I need to get a grip on reality.
Yeah, the shame is so real.
It is. But looking at this through a neurobiological lens, that spinning mind isn't a character flaw.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it isn't you being emotionally weak. What you are experiencing is an ancient biological survival system completely hijacking your prefrontal cortex.
Wow.
Your brain isn't just annoyed. It is literally sounding a life or death alarm.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if that crippling dating anxiety is actually rooted in evolutionary biology, I mean, that changes absolutely everything about how we approach relationships.
It fundamentally changes the game, yeah.
So welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is to decode the hard science of adult attachment.
And there's a lot of science here.
So much. We're pulling from a massive analysis suite today, mostly centered around the landmark book attached by Dr. Amir Levine and Rachel Heller.
Such an incredible resource.
It really is. Together, we are going to explore the neurobiology of why you love the way you do, why certain relationships feel like an absolute psychological war zone, and how to hack your own nervous system to find a partner who actually fits.
Because, we have spent decades blaming relationship failures on these, mystical concepts.
Like, oh, we just didn't have chemistry.
Exactly, chemistry or bad timing. But the reality is literally hardwired into the limbic system of our brains.
Right.
To understand why an unreturned text triggers a visceral panic attack, we really have to look at the evolutionary origins of attachment theory.
Which didn't even start with adults.
No, not at all. Psychologists John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth didn't start out studying modern dating. They studied the biological bond between infants and their caregivers.
Makes sense.
Because a human infant in the wild is completely defenseless. If the caregiver walks away, the baby's nervous system interprets that distance as literal impending death.
Right, because they can't fend for themselves.
Exactly. Panicking and crying is a biological imperative to reestablish physical proximity.
Because an infant that doesn't panic when abandoned is an infant that doesn't survive the night.
Precisely. And the paradigm-shifting discovery in modern psychology is that this biological alarm system, it doesn't simply evaporate when we turn 18.
It just stays there.
It just gets repurposed. The exact same neural pathways that govern physical proximity to our parents now govern emotional proximity to our romantic partners.
That is wild.
Yeah. Adults need a secure emotional baseline to feel safe in the world. When that baseline is threatened, say, by a partner suddenly pulling away or, ignoring a message.
Like the text message from earlier.
Exactly. The adult amygdala fires up with the exact same intensity as an infant left alone in the woods.
Okay, so we all know the basic labels from pop psychology by now. Secure, anxious, and avoidant.
Right. They're everywhere on TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. But the source material completely reframes these. They aren't just quirky personality traits you slap on a dating profile.
No, not at all.
They are distinct evolutionary survival strategies. And the book breaks down the population, right? It's like 50% secure, 20% anxious, and 25% avoidant. Plus that rare 5% mix.
The anxious avoidant combo, yeah, usually born from trauma.
Right. So if relationships are an ocean, it feels like secure people are the anchor.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, they drop down, they hold the ship steady in the current. I mean, they allow for some sway, but they keep things fundamentally safe.
Which leaves the anxious individuals operating like a hypersensitive sonar system.
Yes.
Their nervous system is constantly pinging the dark water, just
Yeah.
endlessly scanning for the slightest shift in current or, hidden torpedoes.
And then the avoidant people, they are the submarines.
Yep.
The absolute second they detect that sonar ping, the second they sense someone trying to lock onto them, they batten down the hatches and dive into the freezing depths to escape contact completely.
And the mechanics of how those vessels operate under stress, that's where the biology becomes really visible.
Tell me more about that.
Well, when an anxious person's sonar detects a threat, whether it's real or imagined, their brain just floods with cortisol.
The stress hormone.
Right. Their primary biological directive is to reestablish connection at any cost. This results in what researchers call protest behaviors.
Like what does that look like?
They might call 20 times in a row, purposely pick a fight, or threaten a breakup they don't actually want.
Oh, wow, just to get a reaction.
Exactly. The logic of the panic brain is that even a furious, screaming reaction from a partner is better than silence, because anger is still a form of connection.
So they're essentially banging on the glass at the submarine, screaming for the hatch to open.
Yeah, and that frantic banging on the glass is the exact trigger that terrifies the avoidant person's nervous system.
Because they're wired totally differently.
Complete opposites. The avoidant's physiological reaction to stress is the polar opposite. Their primitive brain interprets emotional closeness as the threat to survival.
Wow, closeness is the threat.
Yes. So they deploy deactivating strategies to downregulate their central nervous system.
Meaning they just shut down.
They suppress their emotional output. They might suddenly, bury themselves in an 80-hour work week or start hyperfixating on tiny irrelevant flaws in their partner,
Like what?
like the way they chew or a single casual comment they made. Anything to justify pulling away.
Actually, the source material mentions one specific deactivating strategy that completely blew my mind. The Phantom X.
Oh, yes. That is a huge one.
Avoidance will frequently construct this idealized memory of an ex-partner, just conveniently deleting all the reasons the relationship actually failed.
Because it's a brilliant cognitive distortion.
Right.
Fixating on a perfect ex creates an utterly impossible standard for their current partner to meet.
So they can't ever win.
Never. It artificially generates the emotional distance the avoidant desperately needs to bring their heart rate back to baseline.
So it's not even about the ex.
It isn't about the ex at all. It is a subconscious defense mechanism to neutralize the threat of the person sitting right across from them.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. What happens when these contrasting biological imperatives collide in the dating pool?
Oh, it's a mess.
I mean, you would logically assume that an anxious person who desperately needs reassurance would run as fast as humanly possible from an avoidant person who is guaranteed to withhold it.
You would think so.
Yet the source highlights this devastating reality. Anxious and avoidant people are magnetically, obsessively drawn to each other.
They flock to each other precisely because they confirm each other's core wounds.
How does that work?
Think about the underlying beliefs formed in their early development. The anxious person fundamentally believes, deep down in their subconscious, that they are always going to be abandoned.
Right.
And the avoidant person fundamentally believes that relationships will inevitably suffocate them and, rob them of their independence.
So when they meet, it's basically a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is a perfect, tragic lock and key.
Man.
The anxious person experiences the avoidance emotional distance, and their brain says, ah, yes, this feels familiar. This is what love is supposed to feel like, a desperate chase where I'm eventually left alone.
That is so sad. And the avoidant.
Meanwhile, the avoidant experiences the anxious person's frantic pursuit, and their brain says, see, I knew it. Intimacy is suffocating and dangerous. They partner up because the dynamic validates their worldview.
Okay, walk me through what that actually looks like on, say, a random Tuesday. How does the cycle play out?
It always starts with the trigger. Let's say the avoidant partner has a stressful day at work and becomes slightly withdrawn during dinner.
Just a little quiet.
Right. The anxious partner's sonar immediately detects the shift. Cortisol spikes. They seek closeness to soothe their nervous system.
So they lean in.
They lean in and ask, are we okay? Are you mad at me? Tell me you love me.
Which is the absolute worst possible move to make with a submarine.
The pressure is just too much. The avoidant partner feels engulfed. Their deactivating strategies kick in, and they emotionally shut the hatch.
They dive.
They ask for space, or they become completely cold and dismissive. And this withdrawal confirms the anxious partner's deepest fear of abandonment, throwing their amygdala into overdrive.
So here come the protest behaviors.
Exactly. Crying, relentless texting, blocking the door.
And the avoidant responds to that intense protest by diving even deeper, completely stonewalling them. Okay, I have to step in and play the skeptic here.
Go for it.
Because anyone listening is screaming this at their device right now. If this biological loop is so agonizing, why on earth do they stay together?
That's a great question.
Like, why not just pack your bags, break up, and find someone who doesn't constantly trigger a fight or flight response?
What's fascinating here is the neurochemistry of intermittent reinforcement.
Intermittent reinforcement.
Yeah. The avoidant partner is not a monster. They aren't cold 100% of the time. Eventually, once they've secured enough distance and their nervous system feels safe again, they resurface.
And they act normal again.
Better than normal. They become warm, charming, and deeply loving.
And the anxious person forgives them instantly.
Because that sudden return of affection creates a massive rush of dopamine in the anxious person's brain. It acts identically to a slot machine.
Oh, wow. A slot machine.
Think about it. A gambler will sit at a machine, losing money, feeling miserable for hours, pulling the lever again and again through the losing streaks. Why?
Because they're waiting for the jackpot.
Because the brain remembers the intoxicating rush of the unpredictable jackpot. The anxious partner becomes biochemically addicted to the extreme highs and lows.
So they mistake the anxiety for love.
Steady, consistent love doesn't provide that massive dopamine spike, so they interpret the anxiety loop as passion.
And the real tragedy is the self-blame.
Huge amounts of it.
Because they don't have the scientific framework, they internalize the failure. The anxious person looks in the mirror and thinks, you know, if I were just less needy, if I were more attractive, they wouldn't run away.
And the avoidant thinks, if my partner wasn't so aggressively demanding, I could finally be a good partner.
Neither of them realizes that their core personalities aren't the problem. They are simply experiencing a severe biological mismatch.
That's exactly it.
So what does this all mean? Let's get incredibly practical for a second.
Let's do it.
If someone is listening right now, sitting in their car, realizing, oh my God, I am the anxious one spinning out about a text, or I am the avoidant secretly looking for flaws so I can bolt, are they just doomed? Are we completely held hostage by our evolutionary hardware?
Absolutely not. Attachment styles are deeply ingrained, yes, but they exhibit neuroplasticity.
They can change.
The source material outlines a rigorous path to what clinical psychologists call earned security. You can actually rewire your attachment system.
How?
To do that, you have to consciously interrupt the biological loop.
And the book gives a highly specific tool for that interruption, right? Adapted from dialectical behavior therapy?
Yes, DBT.
It's called the DEAR method. DEA.
Such a powerful tool.
If you are anxious, the hardest thing in the world is to stop a protest behavior when your brain thinks you're dying. Let's try to apply this.
Okay, so the same.
Say I'm the anxious partner, and my text has been ignored for 5 hours. Normally, I'd send something like, you clearly don't care about me at all. Don't ever bother contacting me again.
A classic protest behavior. It's designed to force engagement through guilt.
Right. So how do we restructure that using DEAR? I'm going to try to walk through the acronym.
Go ahead.
Okay, so D is describe. I have to state the objective facts without any judgment. So instead of you're ignoring me, I say, when you don't return my text for 5 hours.
Perfect.
Just the facts.
Then E is express. I have to use an I statement. So I feel incredibly anxious and disconnected.
They're owning the feeling. Excellent.
A is assert. State the need clearly.
Yep.
I need you to at least send a placeholder text saying you're slammed.
Very clear.
And R is reinforce. Offer the positive outcome. Knowing you're busy helps my nervous system relax so I can give you the space you need. That is a flawless execution.
Yeah.
You have communicated your exact internal state without launching an attack.
But I'm going to push back on this pretty hard.
I figured you might.
I understand the theory, but let's be real. It's 11 p.m., I'm sweating, my heart is beating 120 beats per minute, and I am terrified this person is ghosting me.
You're in full panic mode.
Exactly. And you want me to pull out a clinical, HR-approved script and say, when you do X, I feel Y. Doesn't that completely kill the romance?
It feels clunky, sure.
Like, how do you casually drop a DEAR statement when you are actively having an emotional meltdown?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the clinical nature of the DEAR method is the entire point.
What do you mean?
It is a biological hack, and it works in two directions simultaneously. First, think about your partner. When you scream, you're so selfish, you are instantly activating their amygdala.
Right, they feel attacked.
Their primitive brain perceives an attack, and they will fight back or flee. By using a structured, blame-free script, you bypass their threat detection system completely.
Oh, I see.
You are speaking a language their nervous system doesn't register as danger.
You sneak past the guard dogs.
Precisely. But more importantly, it hacks your brain.
How does it hack my brain?
When your heart rate is racing, your emotional limbic system is in total control. The sheer mental effort required to stop, remember the DEAR acronym, and structure a perfectly factual, blame-free sentence.
That takes a lot of focus.
It physically forces your brain to shift blood flow back to your prefrontal cortex, the logical reasoning center.
Oh, wow.
The act of using the script mechanically dampens your own panic.
That is brilliant. The awkward clinical structure is actually what forces your brain to cool down.
Exactly.
But even with incredible communication tools, the source material argues that if you want to achieve earned security, the absolute fastest route is the most obvious one.
You have to date a secure partner.
Right. It is the ultimate relationship hack. Secure partners act as a buffer for an insecure nervous system.
They really do. And the book provides a checklist for spouting them in the wild.
What are we looking for?
You're looking for extreme consistency. They follow through on minor promises. They do not play games with communication.
So no waiting 3 days to text back.
Right. If they like you, they tell you. They don't shame you for expressing a need.
And the book points out that a major green flag is how they view a busy schedule.
This is such a good point.
A secure person sees a busy schedule as a logistical hurdle to manage together. But an avoidant person wields a busy schedule as a personality trait to keep you permanently at arm's length.
That is a critical distinction. A secure person makes room. An avoidant person builds walls.
Definitely.
You also have to watch for the red flags of deactivating strategies during early dating.
Oh, like the classic warning sign. Someone who sits across from you on a first date and casually mentions that every single one of their exes is crazy.
The crazy ex trope.
Right. If every person they have ever dated was completely unhinged, you are almost certainly looking at an avoidant who systematically devalues their partners.
Just to avoid taking any accountability for the emotional distance they created.
The common denominator in all those crazy relationships is them.
Exactly. But this brings us to one of the most counterintuitive, difficult hurdles for an anxious person who finally manages to date a truly secure partner.
The boring paradox.
Yes.
This was the single biggest aha moment for me in all the research.
It really reframes everything.
It does.
Hmm.
The source explains that if an anxious person who is used to the chaotic, agonizing slot machine dynamics of the anxious avoidant trap goes on a date with a consistent, communicative, secure person,
What happens?
they will likely feel absolutely nothing. They will find the secure person utterly boring.
It is a devastating psychological trick.
Why does that happen?
Let's look at the neurochemistry again. Anxious individuals have spent years confusing the massive cortisol spikes of anxiety, followed by the dopamine hits of relief, with passion.
Right, the slot machine.
Their brain associates profound romantic love with a feeling of lingering nausea and constant hypervigilance.
So when the secure person calls exactly when they promised to call,
The alarm bell doesn't ring. There is no cortisol spike. There is no sudden rush of dopamine because there was no preceding panic.
it's just calm.
The nervous system remains completely stable. And the anxious person, misinterpreting their own biology, sits there and thinks, well, they're nice, but there's no spark.
Why are no butterflies?
Exactly. We just don't have chemistry.
They literally mistake a regulated nervous system for a lack of romantic potential.
They do.
So if you are listening to this and you realize you have an anxious attachment style, your ultimate challenge is that you have to actively retrain your nervous system to accept peace.
It takes real work.
You have to intellectually override your gut instinct. When you meet someone who doesn't make you feel like you are going to throw up from anxiety, you can't run away. You have to give the boring, secure person a chance.
You have to endure the initial lack of chaotic sparks.
Right.
You allow the stability to become your new baseline until your brain finally realizes that the slow, steady release of oxytocin you get from a secure partner.
The bonding hormone.
Yes. The oxytocin is vastly more fulfilling and sustainable than the exhausting roller coaster of cortisol.
Which brings us to the ultimate liberating takeaway from this entire deep dive.
That's a hopeful message.
It really is. If you've been listening to this, recognizing yourself in these toxic cycles or, cringing at memories of past relationships, you need to hear this.
Listen closely.
You are not broken. Love is not some random, chaotic mystery that everyone else figured out while you were left behind. It operates on highly predictable biological patterns.
It's just biology.
If you are anxious, you must stop punishing yourself for needing reassurance, and you must stop pouring your energy into submarines who will never open the hatch.
Stop banging on the glass.
Yes. And if you are avoidant, you have to recognize that your urge to flee a loving relationship is a ghost from your past, not a threat in your present. You have to learn to stay in the room.
This raises an important final question about how we deploy this knowledge. Well, the goal of understanding the neurobiology of attachment isn't to diagnose your partner or try to fundamentally change who you are at your core.
It's not about fixing yourself.
The objective is profound self-awareness. You have a highly specific biological operating system, and that system has specific requirements to feel safe.
Right.
Your mission is to find someone whose operating system is compatible with yours, or someone who is genuinely willing to sit down, learn your manual, and do the work with you.
It's about working with your evolutionary hardware instead of constantly fighting a war against it.
Exactly.
So I want to leave you with this one thought to chew on.
Okay.
The next time you go on a first date and you find yourself pacing your apartment later that night, staring at your phone, feeling those intense, obsessive, stomach-churning butterflies,
We all know the feeling.
I want you to stop and ask yourself, is this true love at first sight? Or is it just your biological alarm system desperately trying to warn you that you've just met an avoidant?